Listen, if you've been following me on social media for a while, you know I talk a lot about real estate and that you can make millions of dollars with it. And yet, if you're still watching me and you haven't taken action, it's probably because you don't know what your first real action steps are.
Check it out.
Well, today I'm sharing with you the ultimate starter guide for crushing it in the game of real estate. I'm gonna lay it out for you step by step so that you can get started right now. You know what my biggest fear was when I got started in real estate? I was young and there were all of these new big words like mortgage and paying rent. And on top of that, real estate kind of looked like a rich man's game. I'm like, you probably have to have money to make money. But fortunately, the mentors that got me started in the game said, that's actually an illusion. It's not true. Kris, you can buy real estate with no money. You can buy real estate with little money. You don't have to do it the way other people do. Which means that anyone can get started in real estate, whether you are young like me in my early 20s or whether you're in your 50s. It's never too late to get in the game. It's really about getting started and then learning just how rapidly you can build wealth. Welcome to the ultimate guide to getting started in the game of real estate. My name is Kris Krohn, and if you are new to me, I've transacted over $2 billion worth of real estate, over 6,500 single family homes, and I've created many, many millionaires along the way. Now, before I help you come up with your game plan on step-by-step of what you do to get started in real estate, let's make sure that you start by understanding the 5 major reasons, the benefits on why people want to own real estate in the first place. When you buy a house, it comes with a mortgage, and that's an expense. And basically, you've got to pay money every month to the bank. But if you rent out the house because you've bought the right house, there's leftover money. In other words, the rent is greater than the expenses. And if your house is producing an extra $400 or $500 every single month, that's now called a positive cash flow. And the very first benefit of owning real estate is that it can produce a positive cash flow. Just imagine that you got a second really small part-time job paying you an extra $500 a month, but it didn't require any of your time. Well, that's what each house is to you. When I was in college, I bought my first 2,500 homes and I did it with less than $5,000. Each of those homes roughly paid me $500 a month. So by the time I graduated college, $500 a month times 25 homes, I was clearing over $12,000 a month. The second reason for buying real estate is that it goes up in value. And by a little or a lot? Well, by a ton. In fact, over the last 65 years, they've tracked nationwide that the average house goes up 4.65% every single year. Now, 4.65% may not sound like a lot, but when you understand the amount of leverage that you get with a house, it's a ton. What do I mean by leverage? People don't buy homes cash. They go to banks and the banks actually give them money to buy the house. You have to come up with a small amount of money and then the bank comes up with a large amount of the money. So the 4.65% that you're making is mostly on the bank's money, which actually if you're putting down a 20% down payment, it's like 5 times the benefit. That's like 25% a year on your money. Or if you're buying a house for you and you're putting a 3% down payment, it's a really big number. But Kris, the market is so inflated. Homes have gone up so much. I mean, they can't keep going up, can they? Did you know in 1963, the median home was $17,000? And now today it's over $417,000? Where do you think it's going to be in 5 years? It's not coming down. The third reason why to invest in real estate is leverage control. Banks stand ready to give you anywhere from 80 to 97% of the money, and even in some rare programs, 100% of the money to buy the house. Now, the reason why that's important is that if you had $50,000 that you put in the stock market, you could only buy $50,000 of stocks. But if you have $50,000 in real estate, you can buy $250,000 worth of real estate or a whole lot more. The fourth benefit of owning real estate is what's called principal reduction. You see, every month when you make your mortgage payment, some of that goes to interest and some of that goes to the principal, meaning that over time, the bank's gonna earn a lot of money in interest. In fact, on a 30-year mortgage, the house is actually gonna get paid for almost 3 times. But along the way, the house also gets paid off. Do you know who's gonna pay it off? Your renters. You're literally saying, I want you to live in this place and I want you to pay off my house over time. And the fifth major benefit is what's called depreciation, not appreciation. Depreciation is where the government allows you to take the entire value of your house and write it off over 27 and a half years. So for example, on a $300,000 house, that's a little over $10,000 you get to write off every year. If you rent it out and you're making $5,000 a year positive cash flow, you actually don't have to pay taxes on any of that. Why? because there's $10,000 of depreciation against the $5,000 of positive income, which means you don't only pay taxes on that, but you have an additional $5,000 of that depreciation carrying over into your other income sources, which basically means the more real estate you buy, the less taxes you pay. Moving on, there are 4 different types of real estate: residential real estate, commercial real estate, industrial real estate, and raw land. Now, technically, you can make money with all of these, but because I'm your mentor today, I'm going to share with you that there's one that I'm the most interested in, and that's residential real estate. Yay. Residential real estate is exactly what you're thinking. This is a home for a family, and that's it. But if you move up to commercial real estate, you then get into multifamily real estate and also business real estate. You've got industrial real estate where you've got warehouses and steel manufacturing plants, and then you have raw land. I bought a tract of land, I waited 20 years, and then guess what? It went up in value and I sold it and I made millions of dollars. But of all 4 of these, residential real estate makes me more money than any of the other categories. Now, there are 30 major different ways to invest in real estate, but today I'm going to share with you the top 3, the 3 that I have found to be the most profitable. So take notes. The first one is called a rental, the second one is called a lease option, and the third one is called wholesaling. Now, a rental is what you would imagine. I bought a house, I rent it out, and the people that live there, they pay me rent. Now, is that a smart thing to do all the time? Well, it depends if it's the right house in the right market and you bought it at the right price. If you did 1, 2, or 3 of those wrong, you'd then be stuck with a house and a negative cash flow because the rent that they pay is not enough to cover all of the expenses. Rentals done correctly are good. I own thousands of them and I absolutely recommend it. The second strategy is called a lease option, or sometimes called rent to own. This is where an investor has bought a home, but instead of just renting it out, they want to rent it to a family that has an intention of buying the home. Now, lease options are awesome because the family moving into the house wants to make it their own. They'll pay a premium on rent. They'll usually give you a non-refundable down payment of $3,000 to $10,000. And the bottom line is you make a lot of money and they do all of the management. So that's also a very smart strategy. In fact, the first 25 homes that I bought were all lease options. The third strategy is called wholesaling. And this is where you're going to identify a house at a really deep discount. And then instead of buying it, you're going to just flip the contract, the deal, to an investor and say, I want you to cough up $20,000 or $50,000 for basically taking on this really good deal that I found for you. Wholesaling is really smart because it doesn't require any money, it doesn't require any credit, and if you have the right system, you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars or even millions of dollars doing this. Now, as your mentor, I do need to give you a huge warning that when you wholesale or flip properties, you can make a ton of cash, but 10 years can go by, you've made a ton of money, and you don't own any real estate. So when we talk about rentals or lease options, that's a buy and hold strategy. Wholesaling and flipping, that is real estate as a business where you don't actually hold on to the properties, but you make a bunch of money. And if you do both, that's real smart. Next, I need to teach you the sweet spot for your buy and holds, because when you build a portfolio of homes, that means I am buying homes to collect them and either rent them out or do lease options, because the more homes I have, the more passive income that I have, plus all the other benefits that Kris Krohn, you as my mentor, just told me about. And here's that sweet spot. When you buy these homes underneath the median by about 30%, what you do is you create a strong margin of safety. For example, when I buy real estate, my average purchase price these days, $270,000. The national median, $430,000. So I'm about 30% below it. And what that means is that if the market comes down for a few years and $1 million homes becomes a $500,000, that person takes a $500,000 bath. If a $300,000 home becomes a $250,000 home, you're much more insulated, you can keep renting the property, and you're gonna keep making money. In other words, when the market comes down, expensive homes have big expenses and big problems, but homes below the median, they create your greatest security. Okay, Kris, you buy below the median, but what about condos and townhomes? Well, I don't touch those either. I want single family homes that are at least 3 bedrooms and preferably 2 bathrooms on up to that price 30% below the median. Anything in between that is going to give you your strongest cash flow and your best appreciation and your greatest safety. Next, for your ultimate guide, we have to talk about the 4 major profit centers of buying and holding real estate. Because ultimately, these are designed to create what's called an ROI. ROI stands for return return on investment, and it's how you know how well your money is performing. Let's say I bought this property and it had a $300 a month positive cash flow, and based on my investment, that was producing a 5% ROI. But let's add on top of that I bought it in a market where at the rate the house is going up based on what I put down, I'm also clearing 20% every year on my appreciation. Well, now I'm earning 5% on my cash on cash. I'm earning 20% on appreciation. I'm already at a 25% ROI, which by the way is my minimum, but we're not done yet. The third profit center is what's called principal reduction. We talked about this earlier. I have a tenant living there, and every month that I make the mortgage payment based on the rent that they gave me, the principal or what I owe on the house is going down. And for the first 5 years on average, it's around $250, and that pencils out to about a 4% annual ROI just on them getting your house paid off. Well, if I was 5% on my cash flow, 20% on my appreciation, and 4% on principal reduction, now I'm sitting at a 29% ROI. The fourth major profit center is depreciating the property like we also talked about before. Let's assume that my depreciation on this property equates to an additional 3% of ROI. And I add that on top of my 29%, and now I'm sitting at an aggregated 32% annual ROI. And according to the rule of 72, my money is now doubling nearly every other year. That means that you're actually earning close to a 50% ROI. I want you to imagine, with my money doubling every year, compare that to your bank account. When you put money in your bank or a 401k or an IRA, does it actually double every other year? Fat chance. But real estate, that becomes possible when you take these four profit centers and add them all up. Another juicy reason why you want to own real estate. Now we're ready to talk about how you actually get started, and there are 4 steps, and I want you to write them down with me. Step 1, you've got to educate yourself. Now, of course, you can do that here on YouTube. You can also do that by reading some of my books or other people's books, and you can also come to my live events where we're actually transacting real estate during the event. So we're not just educating on it, you're literally watching it happen. A mentor that can do that for you is invaluable because now you have someone you can text or call or get help from. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how you can get my cell phone so that I can actually help you build your real estate portfolio. It's found in the link below. Step 1 is educating yourself. Step 2 is setting your financial goals. When my wife and I bought our first house and saw that it made us $500 a month, we decided that if we could buy 20 homes and have 20 rentals that each paid $500 a month, that would equate to $10,000 every single month of passive income. That meant that we didn't have to work, but the $10,000 was going to come in. We set that financial goal, and because I knew what my goal was, I started buying homes. I used mostly other people's money, and 4.5 years later, I didn't have 20 homes, I had 25 homes, and they were now making me $12,500 a month. And because I hit my goal, guess what I did? I had just graduated college, so I quit my job and I was free. I didn't need to work because I hit my goal. The third step that made that goal possible was finding a mentor. You need someone in your back pocket. Do not stop at watching videos and reading books. You need to find a way to get a mentor under contract. You need to get them obligated to you, to take your phone calls, to line things up, to help you find good deals, to walk you through it step by step. If you have a mentor, it's a sure shot, 100% you're going to win. And the fourth step is to take action. You see, if you've been educating yourself, if you've been setting your financial goals and you have a mentor giving you advice, the next most important thing is to listen to that advice. My mentor got with me and said, Kris, state your job a little longer, save up a little bit of money, do these steps with your credit, and boom, you can buy your first house. And you know what? A short time later, I did those things, I found my first house, and I bought that house $40,000 under market. It also had a basement apartment so that when my wife and I moved in with a 3% down payment, the basement actually covered the entire mortgage. That first house was the catalyst to then using the equity in that house to buy the second house according to my mentor's advice. That fourth step of taking action is everything. I will tell you, when I bought my first house, I was scared spitless, but because I had my mentor at my side, it made all the difference. I moved forward with his confidence, and because of that, I am where I am today. My friend, that is the ultimate guide to getting started in real estate. And if you're ready for your mentor, what I want you to do is click the link below. I want you to submit your name, your phone number, and basically say, let's get in touch with each other and figure out step by step what my specific game plan is. Now, I'm not gonna charge you for this. This is 100% free. What I wanna do is give you the gift of my perspective of, if I was you, with good credit or bad credit, a lot of money or no money, Assets, no assets, doesn't matter to me. I don't care if you're 14 years old and I don't care if you're 64 years old. I'm gonna step into your shoes and show you step by step what I would do to become a multimillionaire in real estate as fast as possible. Click the link below, get that game plan. Let's get this ultimate guide on fire and start making money in real estate. And my friend, that's how I got started and that's what I do. But if I had all of my wealth stripped away and I had to start over all over again, would I do it the same way? Would I do it different? Well, based on everything I've learned, this is what I would do getting started in real estate today. Click right here, let me show you.